I'd like to thank Team Leads, first of all, for inviting me. I was part of a panel on employability, and some of the challenges that came up were, one is the demand and supply gap between the students who want to get employed versus the people who want to offer that employment. One of the issues that comes up repeatedly in this whole discussion on employability is the gap between what companies or businesses want versus what academia and students can provide. And I think that's something that we discussed very in a fair amount of detail. I think there were a couple of things which made our panel particularly interesting. I think one was the live examples that we saw from two states. One is from Andhra Pradesh and the second from the state of Punjab. The state of Punjab, for example, came up with some very interesting insights on what people want to do. The very fact that a lot of young people today are becoming entrepreneurs, but more importantly, they're becoming entrepreneurs in areas that are more future looking. And when I say future, I don't mean futuristic, but I mean even non-tech, non-computer science, and which means addressing issues which are very fundamental to India's economy, like, for example, agrotech. The Andhra Pradesh is doing some very interesting work in bringing students to internships, and internships are usually a good way to graduate them to the world of work and vocational acceptance. For lack of any other term. So I think these are issues which are very important. I think it's important to discuss them from all these points of view, like I said, business, academia, as well as students. The last issue, I think, the last two sets of issues that came up were, one was to do with whether or not students of today are prepared for jobs that will be fundamentally different a few years down the line. So even having just a degree is not sufficient. It's more the adaptability and whether you're prepared mentally and aptitudinally to do a job which might not even exist today or might be created a few years down the line. And finally, who's going to pay for it? Is the government going to pay for it? Is the parent going to pay for it? Is the student going to pay for it? And bridging all of this with finance is, I think, very important. And these are some of my takeaways. And this is something I experience and feel as someone in the media space. We're also constantly looking for talented people. We don't necessarily find them. And we also wonder and fret about the fact that there is not sufficient training. So when I talk about this, I can see it both from a perspective of people outside in other industries and as well as what we face in our own industry, which is media and communications. But fixing all of this is important. Bringing people together is important, as this conference is so well done. And doing so, we will address some of the biggest challenges that this country faces. And in solving them, will make us a much more successful nation. Thanks very much.